Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame. Y'all, I'm calling y'all from the car. I'm so exhausted. My head is busting wide open. I haven't eaten today. And I just had a long day. And it just keeps getting longer. So let me tell y'all what happened. So this morning I went to Walmart because I have been in desperate need of more 91% rubbing alcohol. I use it religiously. I use it every single day. I have things that need to be cleaned that I use it for. Like, it is amazing. So I needed that, and I wanted to actually get some dish liquid that was unscented and all that good stuff, and I got it. So before I got to the parking spot in Walmart, keep in mind Walmart is less than 10 minutes away from my house. Y'all, I look in my rearview mirror and I see what usually would be the remnants of rain or water that was on the ground after it rained or something. And you know how, like, you're just driving, because I'm on the interstate and I'm always going 65 to 80, and the speed limit is 55. I'm always doing the most. So I'm thinking that's what it is. But I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Let me rewind that, because that's not how this go, because it didn't rain yesterday. So, y'all, I was like, Lord, what is going on? So I slowed down to get off on the exit that I needed to be getting off on in order to get to Walmart. And I'm smelling antifreeze, and I go slow enough, I see a little bit of smoke here and there, and I'm like, okay, no, what is really going on? Because I just got my intake manifold replaced like 2 months ago. I have gotten a few of the coils replaced and the spark plugs that got damaged because the intake needed to be replaced. And so it basically, the coolant cross over, you could see the actual antifreeze doing what it's supposed to do, but it wasn't supposed to do it like that. So the crack got so big that it started actually leaking out of the car and going into places it shouldn't have. And when antifreeze and all that stuff go down into certain parts, it messes up one thing, and then that one thing that it messes up ends up impacting and messing up other parts. Everything is intertwined, y'all. So y'all, I'm just looking like, Lord, I don't have time for this. Like, I'm in a big cloud of smoke. I done cut the call, big cloud of smoke, and I'm just like, okay. Even though I was at Walmart early, early-ish, because it was a little bit after 6:30, and I had to be to work at 7. And I already knew it was going to take me just 5 minutes to go in and get back out, so I didn't care about that. It was just the fact that I was like, okay, am I going to be able to get to work? Like, what is going on? Y'all, get back in the car. First of all, smoke is still coming out, but not as bad. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, there should be nothing coming out. What is the problem? Y'all, so I'm minding my business. I'm sitting at the light. I'm like, come on, light. When I need the light to go ahead and hurry up and change, it won't change. Took forever. Y'all, I'm trying to accelerate. The car act like it don't want to accelerate. I'm just like, what in the world is going on? Y'all, when I tell y'all, it's a miracle that I made it to work, because I would hit the gas and it would barely go, and you could tell, because I was just like, man, I'm right at work. I'm right on the street. I can't make it to work. Really? Come on now. Y'all, I barely got into the parking lot. I cut the call, got my stuff out, and I just walked in like wasn't going on. Random people talking, is that your car smoking? I'm looking like, y'all know it's my car smoking. I'm the only one here to drive this type of car. At this moment, there have been other people who drive the exact same car as me, but they no longer work there. They worked there briefly and went on about their business. And I'm just like, really? Y'all, so, and now it look like it's trying to rain. I'm just looking like, Lord. I mean, it was sunny, and then out of nowhere, the clouds came, and I was like, thank God, because it's too hot. And I ended up y'all, I ain't even to that part yet. So anyway, back to the story, y'all. So somebody else who I'm actually cool with, she saw what went down this morning. She was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I was in a corner, kind of trying to be on the phone and see who I could talk to about getting that part replaced, because I have a device that syncs up to my car, and y'all, I'm sorry, it's just a lot. I'm just tired of my spirit. It's a lot going on. Something that syncs up to my car that I have it plugged into my car, and it syncs up to my phone, and it lets me know what's going on. So when the check engine light come on, or if I feel like something is going on, and I can double check by clicking on that, and I can see what's going on. So it's been saying that something in particular, one of the coils have been misfiring for a little while or whatever, right? And I was gonna get it changed out last weekend, y'all, but I ended up having to work randomly. Thank God. Like that's another thing. That be on time too, because I'm like, man, I gotta work anyway. And then my supervisor asked me to work, so I was like, yes, Lord. You know what I'm saying? Them pennies, nickels, and dimes be adding up. I mean, for me, at least, they be right on time. Either it's something I needed, which is what the case is most of the time, or something that I wanted, and I'm like, yay, I'm finally able to do something for myself. But yeah, in this case, this is something that I need. So I'm looking like, Lord, don't nobody have time for this. So, look, y'all, I'm doing the most about to close this hood. So anyway, I am in this parking lot, and you probably can't even see me right now, but I just don't want my battery to end up dying. What is this? This cooling off? I think it's cooling off. Let me pause this. Hey, y'all. So, let me stand up. My head is busting wide open because I haven't eaten. But, yeah. Let me stand out here. Might as well. So, right here. Hold on. So, yeah. Y'all, I'm so tired of my spirit. I don't know what to do. But anyway, so yeah, I barely made it to work, and I'm like, okay. Y'all, so one of my coworkers who I'm cool with, she was like, you all right? I said, yeah, because she saw me on the phone in a corner, and I was on the phone, and she waited a minute or two until I got off the phone. And she was like, well, I saw what happened this morning. I saw your car was smoking really bad, and I just wanted to make sure you're okay. She was like, I'm not going to leave today until I make sure you're all right. I was like, okay. So then I told her the pre-existing issue I'd already been having. And so she was like, well, do you have roadside assistance? And I told her that I do. And she was like, well, call them, because I told her the whole situation and that I have basically enough money to get that fixed and all that good stuff. And I was telling her my grand plan, which was to leave on my lunch break and drop it off, and then find a way to get back up there. I guess I was gonna call a cab and look crazy, hoping I can get back on time, even though the place is like 10 minutes in traffic going one way, but my break is only 30 minutes. So it's like, you're gambling, and it's lunchtime. Yeah. But so she was like, look, don't do all that. If you have roadside assistance, do you have roadside assistance? I said, yeah. She said, since you have roadside assistance, call them, have them to have your car towed to the place, and you ain't got to worry about going nowhere, because you don't need to chance nothing anyway. Chance something happening, and then you can't get back to work, and your car really be messed up. All that other stuff, y'all, right? So I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. So I'd never done any of this before. Ended up finally realizing what I needed to do. Did it. And I'm like, okay. So they told me they'll be out there within an hour. They got there like an hour. Almost a little bit over an hour, because they ended up stopping back in their office to do something. Whatever. I was fine with that anyway, because I was working. So, that didn't mess with me. I didn't have a problem with that. So that was cool. So I was like, okay. So the guy finally came, and he loaded it up on this little, the tow truck. and I had the parts already. And I asked him to, just sit everything back on that seat so they can see it and the key and leave it unlocked so they can do what they need to do when it gets there or whenever they can fit it in, because they were going to fit it in. Normally they don't have a spot. They ain't got no, I might be able to fit you in today or whatever. Like, none of that. He told me on the phone that he should be able to fit me in because of what I told him that I wanted done. So I was like, okay, cool. Hey, y'all. As you can see, I have on a different shirt, and I'm at the house and not in a car. This is actually the day after everything went down, so I'm going to continue what I was talking about, y'all. I ended up cutting the video off because somebody came, so I never got a chance to start back recording. So here you go. I'm gonna give y'all the rest of what happened. Okay, y'all, so my car got towed to the shop, and that actually was ready around 11:30 a.m. And they called me, told me it was ready, so I went on my break at 12:30, and I'm looking like, oh, Lord, did they call to tell me something else crazy? Because anytime I'm it's crazy because I could be at the shop and they'll call my phone, and I'm like, depending on which location, I'm like, I'm literally right here. But anyway, if they ever call me, I'm always scared they're going to say something else is wrong, and I'm going to have to find a way to come up off some money. And I'm like, look, I ain't got it. But they were literally calling to tell me that my car was ready. So I was like, okay, cool. That is amazing that it's already ready. And it's not even 12 o'clock yet. Well, it wasn't even 12 o'clock yet. So they fit me in like they said they would. I was so glad they got it done. Cool. Y'all, so anyway, meanwhile at work, I'm minding my business. Now, keep in mind, where I work upstairs. Everybody else work downstairs. And the area that I work in, it's completely different stuff than what they're running downstairs. We do different products. I ain't even gonna go into what they are. But anyway, the specific line that I work on currently during this rotation, I work by myself. I'm the only operator. So and I have two full lines that I do by myself. And I have one guy or girl, but mainly I have a guy who puts the products on a skid when he's done, pallet, whatever you want to call it. Cool, whatever. So before the truck got there, everybody and their mama acted as if they were outside when I pulled up. And people who I know for a fact get there way before me and are already in the building or walking around the building being nosy, walking up trying to figure out what other people are going to be working for the day, because depending on what's going on or what happened before we got there, because there are 3 shifts, the line you normally work on might be down, there might not be product, and you might have to go somewhere else in the meantime. So there are people who really are that nosy and don't have a life, and they will go early just to see who's going to be there, go to try to talk to other people who are on 3rd shift about to leave a little bit after we have gotten there, all that stupid stuff. I ain't doing that. I'm coming in as late as I possibly can. I don't be having time. So anyway, there are people who were up in there yesterday who heard about what was going on in my car, not saw it. They literally been sitting up there trying to make it seem like they saw something when they didn't. And they were like, oh, well, I sure hope she get that fixed because she need her car, and trying to act like they're concerned when they actually are happy on the inside. Like, that's the thing that I don't like. I know you don't like me. And it kills me because there are so many people who have chosen to not like me literally for no reason. All I did was come and work. Like, I don't do anything to anybody. You know what I'm saying? I am not a perfect person, but I don't do anything. There are plenty of people who do things, and I understand why they aren't liked by anyone. But I literally come to work, do my job. I'm usually very bubbly, and that's another thing that I do want to note. That morning, yesterday morning when I came in, I was still saying good morning to people like I normally do, especially the people that I really associate with, who I don't have issues with. But I wasn't the usual energetic, happy, upbeat me that I normally am. Because normally I'll come in the morning and I'm like, good morning. And I mean, smiling. I don't care if it's a Friday. I don't care if it's a Monday. Usually I try to have either half a smile or a whole smile or whatever. And I'm genuinely trying to have my energy rub off on you, even if you're not a morning person. A lot of people who aren't morning people, they love to see me, or if I'm not there, they miss the fact that I wasn't there, because I try to have somewhat high energy no matter what I myself am going through. So yesterday was a struggle. I felt miserable, and it was crazy because so many people were speaking to me and they had the energy that I don't really have. So I was just sitting up there like, whoa, they mighty chipper today. Okay. Meanwhile, my life is crumbling in my hands. Oh my gosh, that's what I felt like, y'all. I just felt like everything in the world that could go wrong was going wrong for me yesterday. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm just over it. I'm over today. Okay, y'all. So, like I said, there were people left and right all around the building in the area that I don't work in, and people in the area that I work in. I'm going to get on that in a minute. But they were over there basically creating their own work soap opera, trying to make it seem like all these things happen. Y'all want to set up here and created a lie talking about, oh, well, she went and asked the supervisor if she could go home, and they told her no. So people came up to me after our first break and asked me, did I ask if I asked a supervisor if I could go home, and they said no. I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't even know what was going on. Like, my answer was just, I was so dumbfounded by the fact that I was asked that I was just like, no, and I didn't even think to ask. Y'all, all day, people walked up to me asking me that, and I was just like, I don't even understand why they're asking that. I never said anything about going home. What I did do was what you're supposed to do, especially given the fact that I am one operator that runs two lines. I'm the only operator on the line that I work on. So what I have to do is find the person who is like the line leader or whatever you want to call it, wherever you work, that's below a supervisor, but they are over basically that area that you work in. Have to find them and see if they themselves or somebody else is available so they can take my spot, so my area can keep running. And if something stops, they can change something, fix something, do whatever I'm not able to do because I won't physically be there. And I can still hopefully get high numbers because of whatever I'm running or whatever, because you want to try to do the best you can. And I've been doing exceptionally well since they put me over there. And a lot of people are taking notice. People are coming out of nowhere randomly, finding out about my numbers and have been congratulating me. And I'm just like, all I'm doing is my job. But anyway, I digress. So I followed protocol. I did that. And I was told promptly, no, I ain't got nobody that can do that. And I mean, the person had an attitude. I don't even want to get into that right now. But anyway, she was like, no, we trying to get our area up and running over here. I ain't got nobody that can do that. Keep in mind, that means somebody actually is available. And if you knew what the people do, like, you could go over there. And that's the dumb part. Like, if I was in that same situation, if my line wasn't running, and if I was on one of the other lines that had more people than me, just one operator on it, they would send one of us to that other person's line for them to stand there, sit there, do whatever until that person returns. I told her I needed to go see a supervisor. I had emergency. So she told me, oh, well, we ain't got nobody, so you need to turn your machine off and whatever. Okay, cool. So I did that. I went and saw my supervisor, told my supervisor what I needed to tell him, and I got the process going for them to come get my vehicle. Cool. Y'all, I just can't. People just will sit up there and make up stuff and then act like they don't know what's going on. And then, I don't even want to go into that part. Forget that. I don't even want to go into that part because it was just stupid. People were sitting up there getting their entire life because my car was going through. And I was just like, why are you excited that somebody might not be able to have a vehicle to come and get to work? Like, that's dumb, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to get to work. The bus probably wouldn't even be able to get there in enough time for me to get there. And it doesn't even come all the way down to where I work. So it's like, and then, as you know, it's getting hotter and hotter, and now I have to be out there in the elements, and the weather has been crazy lately. Like, nobody has time for that. I've done it before. I don't want to have to go down that road again unless I just like literally just want to just do that. But that's not something I really would want to do again. But anyway, I digress. Y'all, so anyway, back to the story. So the day progressed, and the same girl who came up to me earlier, when I told her what I did, she was like, well, I'll take you up there to the shop when we get off work. So you ain't got to worry about catching a cab or, whatever. Like, you don't have to worry about a way to get up there to your vehicle. So I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, people don't understand. Even though it literally was like 5 minutes or less away from work, people don't understand how much that means to me. Because as hot as it, like, it's already hot, as I don't know what, it's already hot. And to me, people are going out of their way because that's not where they were going. So I really do appreciate the things that people do for me. So anyway, I told her how much I appreciated her. And she had even said something about how she didn't understand what was going on because people, and I told her, I was like, look, a whole nother situation popped off where somebody lied, talking about I asked the supervisor something I didn't. And so she was looking kind of like she was a little upset too, because she said, I heard on the radio where the person who I asked earlier, if they had somebody that could take my spot, how she was asking one of the supervisors, was I coming back, y'all? And it literally was like break time. I had literally just left 5 minutes prior. It's like, why are you making it seem like I've been gone an hour? Why? You really would have thought I was gone 30 minutes to an hour the way she got on the radio and was like, is she coming back? I mean, with loud, people were like, what in the world? And I mean, the fact was I was in the building about to come back up the steps to come back to the line and work through my break while they were actually getting ready to go to break. And I'm just like, girl, like I was tired because she was talking so loud that whoever's radio I heard her yelling on, they had to turn it down real quick. I was like, oh my gosh, I literally just went out the door 5 minutes ago. I only been gone 5 minutes. I literally left at 9:50. I got back in the building and was about to head up the steps at 9:55. And that's when she was on the radio. 5 minutes, y'all. Y'all, wait, I got to tell y'all about something that happened. Okay. Same person now. Y'all, on the lines that I work on, no matter which one you go to, if I'm an operator on it, there are things I have to do. I have to change. If the line stops, there are certain things you have to change in order for, the rest of it to work. Okay, so my line cut off because something needed to be changed out. Y'all, I'm at the back of the line changing something that needed to be changed out. This heifer that sat up here and asked everybody that was in her peripheral or anywhere that she could see them, like, do you see her anywhere? Do you see her anywhere? Do you see her anywhere? Where did she go? Did she leave and go to the bathroom and then tell somebody? What is going on here? Did she go? What did it do? Like nobody, because of the area that I was in at that time, you can't see me unless you're back there with me ultimately. Or, you're halfway down one of the other lines that's in front of me. And so I was literally changing, and I mean, it's dumb because what I change my stuff out pretty quick. A lot of time it takes, the thing that I had to change that day, it takes at the absolute most 5 minutes to do. And I usually can do it in 2.5, 3. So I had been gone 2.5, 3 minutes. And she already was looking crazy like, have you seen her? Where is she at? I mean, everybody was just like, and I mean, I appeared, I didn't even know that she was looking for me. And there was no reason for her to look for me anyway. I mean, whatever. And y'all, when I tell you, people kept walking up to me like, she needs to stop. Like, it was like, oh, she was looking for you. I was like, wow, I was changing this. I was like, are you serious? Like, I really thought they were joking because my line cut off. It's like, when my line cuts off, part of my job is to change whatever ran out. So, what are you talking about? Y'all, I was so tired. But anyway, I digress. Y'all, I'm sorry. Y'all understand how bad certain people irk me. Anyway, back to what happened, y'all. Okay, so the day progressed and got off work. the woman, she took me to, a coworker took me to the shop. My car was sitting right there, and I went in the car, got my wallet, and went inside and paid. Cool. Y'all, everything was fine when I left the parking lot. I went to Walmart. I went back up the street to Walmart. I had to go to Walmart to get something. And then they told me, it was like, oh, your radiator cap is missing. And I was like, what? So basically the cap that goes over the reservoir where the antifreeze is was missing. And I'm like, that makes no sense. I put antifreeze in that from time to time, especially like when it's really, really hot and I use it a lot. I know that the coolant is going to get low. So I'm like, that don't make no sense. But I didn't, y'all, I'm being dumb. I didn't even look before I crunked the car up. Y'all, I done crunked the car up. I done went to Walmart. Everything fine. Y'all, I left to go get a radiator cap because I called around places. Luckily, y'all, when I tell y'all, God is good, I usually like to call places. Or if I'm being adventurous, I'm like, oh, I'm going to swing by there and see if they got this. Y'all, I luckily called the Advanced Auto Parts that was closest to my house, which is where I was going to go to see if they had any. They didn't have any in stock. So I said, oh, okay, well, let me see. Let me try the location that's not far from where I just picked my car up from. And he was like, well, I'm pretty sure we do have them. We tend to always have stuff like that in stock. And I was like, well, I just called y'all's other location and they said they didn't have it. So he was like, oh, well, I might need to take that back. You know, he was being comedic. It was pretty cool experience talking with him. But anyway, they actually had it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I'll be up there to get one. And so he was like, okay. So I'm literally at the light trying to turn onto the road, leaving Walmart. And I'm like, wait a minute, this car's smoking again. Like, what is going on? I was like, oh my gosh. My car started getting high. It wasn't smoking really, 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 really bad at first. It was like just a little bit of a remnants. And I was like, okay, something ain't right. Why is this doing this? Y'all, I passed the place and I'm like, okay, my car is literally about to hit the H. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not have time for my car to be running hot. Y'all, I was like, Lord, you know I ain't got time for this. You know I need to make it to this place to get this radiator cap. You know I ain't got time. So I finally pull in. I pull in and park real quick. It's steaming and smoking or whatever, and it's just really hot. It's not, the smoking stuff wasn't that bad, but I was just smelling antifreeze, and I'm like, what is going on? So I was like, well, I know what to do. I have to sit here and let the car cool off and whatever, so I ain't gonna worry about it. So I literally sat there and I called my daddy, told my daddy what was going on. And so he told me a list of scenarios that might be going on. Y'all, meanwhile, keep in mind, I never lifted the hood up to see nothing. Y'all, when the car cooled off, I lifted the hood up. I was like, why is my cap gone? Because when he said radiator cap, I was thinking he meant to say steering fluid or something. I don't know. But I was like, radiator? Wait a minute. And where's my cap? Like, I literally had just put antifreeze in that the day before. Well, wait a minute. That morning? Yeah, that morning before I left. So the cap was there. So I'm like, where's my cap? Like, what in the world, y'all? So I'm like, okay, that's the cap they was talking about. And so I'm looking. I'm like, what happened, y'all? Of course, all this pressure built up with the antifreeze. It exploded. All the antifreeze that was all throughout the car was gone. Now, if you don't know about cars, this is what you need to know. When it comes to antifreeze, it has to go all throughout your car or whatever, y'all. I mean, it's just not that reservoir. The reservoir lets you know how much is in there, but I thought it was all in there. There is like another little reservoir that holds some in it. Y'all, it's just a lot. So anyway, y'all, it basically was almost dry. None in there. So that's why I was running hot. And I'm like, where's my cap? And when I tell you I looked down, I was like, I know this ain't the cap. And these people that sat up here made a note. They made a note on my stuff talking about, cap was missing and all this other stuff. Ann told me, and I'm like, you literally couldn't look and see that the cap was sitting right there. It was sitting right next to it, y'all. I was so tired in my spirit. So apparently it blew off. It like boiled over and exploded off. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of my spirit. Like, y'all just made my car overheat for no reason because y'all didn't screw that back on there all the way or whatever, y'all. I was tired. So I did everything my daddy told me to do. I thought that it had cooled off enough for me to start trying to make it home. Y'all, I tried to go down the street. As soon as I accelerated, the needle started going up. I'm like, okay. All right, y'all was about to touch the H again. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I pulled over in this parking lot. That parking lot that y'all saw me doing the video in yesterday. I ended up pulling over in there. Luckily, nobody was there. And they weren't going to be there. I don't know what kind of restaurant that's supposed to be, but whatever. Anyway, y'all, it was about to be 5 o'clock p.m. I got off work at 3:30. I went and got my car at like 3:45. So all this stuff in between led up to it now being 5 o'clock p.m. So I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do. I just got my car towed that morning. And I'm like, look, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm over here feeling like I'm about to have a heat stroke and a complete and utter meltdown, breakdown, everything else in between. Like, I'm just like, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. What in the world? Y'all, so then I don't know why. My mind was like, let me text this person, my friend. Her husband is a mechanic, but he had started working 7 days. So anytime I wanted work done, I was just gonna have to take it to his shop. But now he works 6, and he's off like on Sundays most of the time. Well, sometimes. Anyway, sometimes she said he gets off at like 4:30. Other times it's a little later, depending on what's going on. You know, if you know about mechanic life, you know how that can go. So you might as well not even say, oh, my time when I get off at this time, because they don't really go like that. So, y'all, she kept trying to call him. For some reason, her phone wouldn't, none of her messages would go through. Text messages, no voicemails. Her phone calls, nothing would go through. So she was texting me, and they went through just fine for me. So she texted me his number, finally texted me his right number. So I called him, and he picked up. And I was like, did your wife get in contact with you? He was like, no, I haven't heard anything from her. And I was like, she was supposed to tell you something. Did she talk to you? He was like, no. So I told him what was going on and asked him, was there any way possible for him to come and meet me and do something in particular for me? And he was like, yeah, I know where that is. I should be able to get up there. I'm at work. I'm about to leave work now, whatever. I'll be there in like 15, 20 minutes. So he got here a little bit later than that, which I don't care, because I told him off rip. I said, I don't care what time you get here, as long as you can get me back on the road. And I ain't got this issue. Y'all, so when he finally arrived, I told him what happened. And I told him some of the stuff my daddy said. Like, my daddy said something about the thermostat, because I had literally just got a new manifold put in. And it had the one that had a thermostat already on it. And he said that they had gotten one before for one of their vehicles, my daddy. And something was wrong with the thermostat that came with it. So he ended up having to replace the thermostat. So he was like, well, I don't know if I should replace the thermostat, and that might not be the problem. Let me, get the temperature how it needs to be first. So by the time he got there, all the antifreeze, I literally put 1.5 gallons of antifreeze in there, and it was all gone, y'all. Because at first it looked like it was leveled out when I was at AutoZone, whatever it was, AutoZone, wherever I was, Advanced Auto, I think is where I was. And by the time I got to that place and my car cooled down, y'all, lies. Lies. My car was completely empty, and that 1.5 gallons helped to get a little bit where it needed to be, but I still needed like almost 2 gallons. Well, I needed like a gallon to level it out. Y'all, I ain't had no more antifreeze, because I like to at least keep 1 gallon in my car, and I had 3 and I've been using one of them because some other stuff went down before, because they were going to need one for when they replaced my intake manifold. So I left one up there. They used it for that, and so I only had two left, and I had ended up using that half of one before. Anyway, so I didn't have nothing. He didn't have nothing, so we ended up having to go to Walmart to get that. We will meet his wife at Walmart because he said that he would rather just have her bring his tools than for me to purchase some tools, and then it's expensive and it's for no reason and all this other stuff. And y'all, it was just a lie. I was tired of my spirit. So I was like, look, I'd rather just go ahead and buy the thermostat, because it might be that, because that ended up being the situation with my daddy. Y'all, tell me why after the big adventure of everything, going to the various stores and getting all the stuff, and he ended up switching the thermostat out, which took 5 minutes or less. That was the speediest thing he was able to do. I was like, I didn't know that was going to take no time. He was like, yeah, that's nothing. But y'all, when he took it out, it had some kind of gunk all on it, and it was not supposed to be like that. And my daddy, when I told my daddy about it today, he was like, either the people who changed your manifold out, they made it like that so they can make you think you need to get all this work done on your car when you don't. Because every time I go to that place, they always try to get me to sell my car. Everybody lives for my car. I always have people roll up on me about my car and want me to sell my car. And I'm like, but I'm not selling it. Y'all, so anyway, he was like, I don't know what this stuff is. But what he said what the name of the stuff was. He was like, it looked like somebody just put it all on there. And like he was trying to pry it off. Like, that's how crazy it was. And I'm like, what in the world? Y'all, so I was like, look, I don't even care. So he switched out the thermostat. The thermostat ended up doing how it was supposed to go. Y'all, he finished doing that, and he made sure that my antifreeze and all that stuff was leveled out. Y'all, tell me why. He looking at my car, he was like, wow. And he like said something that made me worry. I was like, what's wrong now? Y'all, the wires to the fan, I was like, what in the world? It looked like somebody had like clean cut almost every single one of my wires to my fan. But what happened was they were supposed to have it clipped up out of the way, and they weren't, and they were basically rubbing up against one of my belts, and it cut it. So my wires weren't how they needed to be. I probably wasn't getting the airflow I needed to get for my fan. So we ended up going back to the place again, and he had to get connectors because he couldn't get this one part to disconnect. So he ended up buying these little blue things. Y'all, anybody who's a mechanic, y'all know what I'm talking about, or know anything about wires and all that stuff. He got these connectors, and he was able to get that squared away. But we had to go back up there and get that done. He had to come back and do that, y'all. So all in all, he got me back on the road. Everything is fine. But y'all, during the process of making sure that my car comes up to the temperature that it should with the antifreeze, he was listening. Well, he kept walking back and forth. I was wondering why he kept looking. I was like, why he keep looking under the hood? He was waiting on my fan to come on. Well, before I had even gotten my car, my daddy was doing work to it. And he said that he tried everything he could so that my air conditioner would come on. You know how most people, you can turn your air conditioner on and it come right on, and like within like a couple of seconds, at the absolute most, a minute or two, you get your cold air. Well, mine, I have to wait like 5 to 7 minutes, whether I'm driving or I'm sitting in a parking space with it on, so that I can get the air. I'm the type of person, I don't even care. I'm just glad about the fact I have air. My air is super duper cold. I don't care. And, he doesn't know what it is. And he has questioned his other mechanic buddies to see what it is. And he doesn't know what it is. He has switched out all kinds of little stuff that should eliminate the problem. And he said it might actually just be something electrical and whatever. Y'all, anyway. So, I was like, look, listen, do you hear that? Because when I was on the phone with my daddy, I heard a noise before I called him. And I was like, what is that? y'all, it sounded like something was rattling around. And I was like, what is that? And I literally had never heard that before today, meaning yesterday. And so it was loud. It randomly started happening after he had me just have the car run so the air bubbles and all that stuff could get out of the antifreeze. I don't want to say coolant tank, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to say the correct word. But anyway, the thing that holds the antifreeze in it or whatever, y'all. But anyway, and then the noise started happening. It sounded like a rattle, and I couldn't describe it at the time when I was on the phone with my daddy. And then everybody kept rolling by, and then the car wanted to be silent then. And I'm like, really? When I need you to make the noise, you don't want to make the noise? Because normally I can hold my phone up to my car, and my daddy can tell me what the noise is in relation to whatever. And so I was like, wait a minute, you hear that? Can you tell me what that is? Because when I was on the phone with my daddy, it wouldn't do it at all. And so he was listening. Then he got on the ground and he kind of was listening. He was like, well, it sounds like the catalytic converter. And I was like, oh gosh, or whatever. So, I mean, it's not that bad. It's just the whole kit. It costs a certain amount. It costs a couple of $100. And if he does it for me, it's going to almost be free. So, whatever. He just will have to find the time in between the time he spends with his family and working and all of that to do work for me. So, anyway, y'all. He was like, don't worry about that, whatever. I told him, well, I am worried about it because I was going to pay the same place I came from to see if they could tell me what is making my emissions thing go off on my phone, because it didn't tell me specifics. It just said there was something going on with the emissions, and I have to pass it in order for my car to pass inspection. So I've been trying to figure out for the past few months what's going on, and I'm like, well, everything that it's telling me should happen isn't happening, because my fuel is supposed to leave my car a lot faster, and I'm not really supposed to have air conditioning like that. Like all this stuff, none of that is working for me as far as emissions are concerned. I don't smell gas. I don't smell nothing leaking, whatever, all this other stuff. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I'm gonna have to save and get one, and hope he can, find the time to put it in for me. But anyway, y'all, since I didn't have a lighter, he didn't have a lighter. Because I don't smoke. I guess he don't smoke either. We ended up going up the street to a gas station to get a lighter so that he could connect the connectors or whatever. You have to let it melt so you don't have to worry about any kind of liquids or anything happening getting down into the wires and all that. So he finished that off. And keep in mind, this whole time, I'm looking at him like, okay, so what do I owe you? And I told his wife the whole time I was on the phone with her, I was like, please tell your husband I have money on me. I will do what I need to do. I just went to Walmart, got some money out. I said, I will give him some money. Just let me know what I need. Just tell him I really need him. If I didn't need him, I wouldn't be begging you right now to see if you can get in contact with him so he can come and help me in this situation. Y'all, so we get to that point. This literally is the last step. Him stealing that. And then I'm going home and he going home. So I'm like, okay, so, what do I owe you? And he gonna tell me, oh, no, you don't owe me nothing. And I was like, what? I just spent 2.5 hours with you, sir. You just got off work. And you were about to head home to your family, your wife and kids. So what you mean I don't owe you nothing? He literally told me, he was like, well, all you got to do is make me some brownies. Just send some brownies by my wife and I'll call it even. I was like, what? Like, I really was like, I don't care if I got to give you everything in this wallet. It's worth more to me that I have my car up and running than this money. I'm going to get a check Friday. Ain't worried about that. And he was like, you don't owe me nothing. I could have cried. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, y'all. So I just came out thing that I wanted and really needed anyway. So I was like, okay. So everything turned out for the best, and my car's up and running, and It's not overheating. Only thing I'm worried about doing now is raising money. Not really raising, because I ain't got no money, y'all. I ain't doing no GoFundMe. Shoot. I wish I had the balls to be like, hey y'all, this is my what is it called? This is my Cash App. If you want to donate to my fund so that I can get this catalytic converter kit, cash at me some money. If I was bold enough to do that, I would, y'all, but I'm not. I can't do it. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to save here and there, and hopefully within the next 2 months I will have that done, because I think my inspection is in September. I think my registration is next month or the month after, but I'm trying to get all this done before that, so I ain't gotta worry about it. Oh, y'all, I'm just so tired, y'all. When I tell y'all, I was just like, oh my gosh. It felt good on the ride home. My air was freezing me. I was like, yes, Lord, because don't nobody have time for none of this. But yeah, y'all, I really did think that I was just over and done with. I'm about to lose my job. Like, everything flashed before my eyes. Like, I'm about to lose this little job I got. My car is probably finna get towed to somebody's junkyard or somebody's yard, and I'm gonna have to pay to get it out and all this other stuff. Like, every terrible thing was going through my mind. But then something told me to call her, and we were able to finally get in touch with her husband, and he saved the day. So I just want to say that I had a terrible day yesterday, but I was surrounded by so many earthly angels to the point where I was just overwhelmed with love, peace, joy, comfort. It was just amazing that there actually were more people who were in my corner rooting for me and hoping for the best than the evil people who were lurking in the shadows, hoping that everything would continue to fail. But anyway, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this little story time or whatever you want to call it, because this was very impromptu. This was not one of the ones I was going to do, but, you know, randomly that happened yesterday, so I'm just letting y'all know what it was. So y'all let me know down in the comment section if y'all have had car issues like this before, and if you had some car issues and your car put you down somewhere, were you able to get help? You know, what did you go through? All that good stuff. But anyway, I hope y'all have a good evening, and I'll talk to y'all later.